Hi, welcome to part 3 of salt systems. Now, if you've watched parts 1 and 2, you probably realize something. I actually like salt systems. I think they're one of the easiest ways to chlorinate a swimming pool, but they're not maintenance free, they're not magic, and they aren't the answer for every problem. Let's finish talking about what I think are the biggest things every salt pool owner should understand. The biggest challenge with salt pools is pH. If you followed my channel very long, you know I talk about pH constantly. If I had to choose one water chemistry parameter to pay attention to every day, it would probably be pH. Not because chlorine isn't important, but because pH affects almost everything. It affects chlorine effectiveness, it affects swimmer comfort, it affects Langmuir saturation index, it affects scale formation, it affects your equipment, it affects your plaster, it affects almost everything in your swimming pool. And salt pools naturally tend to push pH upward faster than traditional chlorinated pools. Why? Two reasons. First, inside of the salt cell, the electrolysis creates an extremely high pH right at the surface of the plates. That's one of the reasons calcium scale develops inside the cell. Second, remember those hydrogen bubbles I talked about earlier? Those tiny bubbles are constantly blowing into the return lines and entering the swimming pool. That's aeration. Aeration accelerates the release of dissolved carbon dioxide from the water. Carbon dioxide is the biggest factor in controlling pH in most swimming pools. As carbon dioxide leaves the water, the pH rises. That's why salt pools generally consume more acid than traditionally chlorinated pools. Nothing is broken. That is simply how the chemistry works. So what should you do? If you maintain your own pool, don't wait until Saturday. Check your pH several times during the week. Adding a small amount of acid 2 or 3 times a week is much easier than making one huge correction every weekend. Smaller corrections, more stable chemistry, a happier swimming pool. Borates. Let's talk about borates. If you've watched my other videos, you already know I'm a big fan. I like borates in almost every chlorine pool, especially salt pools. At around 50 parts per million, borates help slow algae reproduction. That means your chlorine doesn't have to work quite as hard. Without borates, I recommend maintaining at least 7.5% of your CYA as free chlorine. With approximately 50 parts per million of borates, I'm generally comfortable around 5% of CYA because the borates are helping suppress algae growth. That's roughly 1/3 less chlorine that your salt system has to maintain. Less work for the cell, longer cell life, less electricity, less acid demand. It's one of the best upgrades you can make. Now let's talk about corrosion. Another concern people ask me about. Does salt destroy equipment? Not exactly. Salt doesn't magically eat equipment. But salt does make water more electrically conductive. That means galvanic corrosion can happen faster whenever dissimilar metals are electrically connected. That's why I strongly recommend installing a sacrificial anode. The anode corrodes instead of your expensive equipment. It's inexpensive insurance. Natural stone, this is another place where reasonable expectations matter.
Reasonable expectations.
Certain natural stones simply don't like salt water. Some flagstones, limestone, sandstone, some concrete products. These materials are porous. When salt water splashes onto them, the water soaks into the pores. As the water evaporates, the salt crystallizes. Those salt crystals expand over time. That pressure can cause the stone to flake, pit, or slowly break apart. Does every salt pool have this problem? No, but it's something homeowners should know before installing a salt system. Again, reasonable expectations.
Reasonable expectations.
Salt cells don't last forever. Another expectation that needs adjusting. Salt cells are wear items. They're like tires on your truck. They're going to wear out. Depending on water chemistry, runtime, scaling, and maintenance, most salt cells last somewhere around 3 to 7 years. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Cleaning them only when necessary, maintaining proper water balance, and keeping pH under control can significantly extend their life. Salt systems still require testing. I hear this all the time. I bought a salt system so I don't have to test my water. No, actually, testing becomes even more important. You still need to monitor free chlorine, pH, CYA, salt, total alkalinity, calcium hardness. Water balance doesn't disappear because you installed a salt cell. The salt system simply changes how your chlorine gets into the water. So, do I recommend salt systems? Absolutely. When they're properly sized, when they're properly maintained, when homeowners understand what they can and can't do. Here's what I want you to remember. Salt systems don't eliminate chlorine, they make chlorine. Salt systems don't eliminate maintenance. They reduce some maintenance, but they may increase other maintenance. Salt systems don't eliminate testing. They still require testing. Salt systems don't eliminate acid additions. In fact, they usually require more. And salt systems are not designed to recover from major chlorine deficits. They're designed to maintain an already healthy chlorine level. If I could give every homeowner buying a salt system one piece of advice, it would be this. Buy the biggest cell your budget allows. Run it longer at a lower output instead of shorter at a maximum output. Use a variable speed pump if possible. Maintain your pH. Inspect your cell a few times each year. Clean it only when it actually has scale. Don't be afraid to occasionally supplement with liquid chlorine or another appropriate sanitizer during periods of unusually high demand. And remember, your salt system is part of your water care program. It isn't your entire water care program. I'll leave you with this. I don't have a problem with salt systems, never have. My problem has always been with the expectations. Salt systems don't fail because they're bad equipment. They fail because they're expected to do jobs they were never designed to do. And they have a limited lifespan anyway. If you understand what they are designed to do and you manage them accordingly, I honestly think they're one of the best chlorination methods available for residential swimming pools. Reasonable expectations.
Reasonable expectations.
That's really what this entire video has been about. If this video helped you understand your salt system a little better, I'd appreciate it if you would hit like and subscribe. Share it with someone who's thinking about buying a salt system or someone who already owns a salt system and wonders why it isn't meeting their expectations. I'm Deep and Frank. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.